And hello, everyone. You are watching Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time meets every Tuesday at 4:30. That date might change, but we've been at that date now for a couple years. It seems to be working just fine. You can find us by going to Epic Sketch Time on Facebook. Go to the link and sign up. Contact me directly at my name here, Mark Monlux at Comcast.net. Send me your email address and I'll put you on our mailing list so you can go online and sign up, or you can reach me and be signed up. You can also go to eventbrite.com and sign up there. With me in an order of appearance, Katie C., what are you working on today?
I am going to work on work on a mashup of a golden retriever and Luke Skywalker in honor of Washington SummerCon coming up in 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, hi, I'm Katie C. You can find me at Evil Girlfriend Media on Instagram. I'm mostly like horror, but today we're going to do some sci-fi.
Bill.
I'm Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist in Seattle, cartoonist and illustrator in Seattle, Washington. I do a webcomic called Rhapsodies, and I'll be inking one of those strips today. And if I finish that in time, I may work on some mermaids afterwards. And
I live in Tacoma, Washington. I've been freelancing since 1985, so I'm an old horse in all this. My next convention, speaking of conventions, when we were mentioning SummerCon, is going to be Lilac City, which is going to be this coming weekend in Spokane, Washington. If you happen to be in Spokane and you're watching this, please come out and see me. Now, I had planned on sharing a room with my friend Russ, but that fell through. Russ had something else come up and he begged off on me, which is okay. So I canceled my room because I have a friend who lives in Spokane who has for the last 3 years said, hey, come stay with me. And I've always said, oh, that's a great invitation, but I think I'll pass because I got someone I'm traveling with. When you travel with someone, you usually stay with them, you split expenses, it works out really well. But now that I'm traveling by myself this time, staying with a friend is going to be a great way of beating the costs. Besides doing a convention room, some people I know, like my friend Travis Bundy, he never stays at a hotel. He always uses an Airbnb. And what he'll do is he'll go and set up at the event with his car, drive to where his Airbnb is, stay the night there, and then in the morning, rather than driving his car in and dealing with all that hassle, having to find parking, all that, he'll just take an Uber. And then the next day, he'll take his car in and park it because the next day is the move out day. So those are some of the options you guys can look forward to doing when you're out and about. Katie, when you went down to Texas Nightmare, what did you and Tim do?
Well, because Texas Nightmare is located at a hotel actually in the airport, we just stay at the airport hotel because when you think about the cost of an Uber, how much the other hotels cost, time getting in and out of the airport, it's just worth it to stay at the hotel. So we just stayed there, and then we could just go up to our room, like if we needed a break in the middle of the day because it would get crazy, or we need to get more stuff. So yeah, we just stay there. I don't know if you've ever, Dallas Fort Worth Airport is basically a city in itself. It's so huge.
Are we talking O'Hara huge, or?
I can't remember how many square miles it is, but I mean, it takes you have the complex of the airport, You have all the hotels around it. And then from the actual terminal to get to the tolls, which they also have multiple tolls on these roads, I would say it's a good 15 minutes. And then you're still 10 to 15 minutes away from other stuff. So yeah, so it's just not convenient. I just read today that this might be this coming year, maybe their last year at the airport, which I'm not, that may change what we decide to do, but being at that hotel is worth it for us right now.
Do you think that one of the reasons that they're thinking about doing it is because they're trying to expand and they need more room?
Well, yeah. I mean, there are people who are just begging them to expand. Like they want to make it one of the biggest, horror cons in the United States, and it's a pretty good size horror con. So yeah, I could see them doing that to grow the con, which as long as they keep having us be a vendor there, I'm all for it. But but I would even, Tim and I have talked about, because the con is just so cool, we would potentially go there because we're horror fans. We would go just to enjoy ourselves and be fans. And we would probably do like the VIP tickets, which are the really expensive ones, so that we could, because there's so many celebrities at the con, it would be worth it to get to go to, like, because you get they have two different parties, and then they have like a dinner, kind of like how Crypticon does. I don't know if they're still doing the dinner or not with COVID, but very similar.
A dinner, huh?
Didn't they did a dinner or banquet at Crypticon?
I don't know, because I typically don't stay around once the vendor room closed. I figure I'd like to have dinner at home. So not to be a party pooper, but I just don't know.
Well, and like when we would vend at Crypticon, there were times when we would stay at, depending on financial stuff, we would just stay at the con to interact with other people and enjoy ourselves. But over the last couple of years, like when we vended last year, we just drove in every day. It was like a 45-minute drive, but it was still really it was still very enjoyable.
Yep, that's what I was. I mean, I'm in Tacoma. That's about maybe a 30-minute drive, sometimes 20-minute, depending on traffic, sometimes 40 minutes. But usually, I would say I could get there within half an hour.
When I used to live in Federal Way, it was so nice because all the cons were at SeaTac usually, and so I always had like a really good. I could stay, or I could just go home very easily, and I've had people stay with me because I was so close to everything. I want you to take note. I am currently painting the background of this this painting first, Mark. Just so you know, that's one of my many things I have learned. I did that with those alcohol art minis I did too, or the alcohol marker minis.
Yeah.
I did that as well with those because I was like, okay, like go, especially when you know that the foreground is going to be darker or lighter than the back, and because if the back is lighter, you can always paint around it, to me, a lot easier. But if you have like a really light object and whatever is going to be in the foreground is going to be light, you have to be so careful, because you just one slip of that hand and you've ruined everything you just drew. So I'm learning from my mistakes, Barry.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I'm sort of always on the lookout for good tricks to keep your hand properly raised, because I have done inadvertent smudging whenever I'm working on a piece that's bigger than 8.5 by 11.
Now, some artists, like my friend Sam, has a support stick. It's got a ball on the end of it, and he'll take, let's see. So imagine that. Oh, do I actually have a stick around here? I'm looking for a stick. So imagine this has a ball on the end of it, and the ball goes to the other side of the canvas where the easel support is, and he rests the ball there so that the wand is not touching the edge of the paint or anything. So the last thing you do was wonk it. And then you can rest your hand like this on the wand while you paint, and you don't have to worry about your hand touching and smudging.
Oh, that is so smart. I know, because we need a cure, or we need a cure for whatever neurological problem this is I have. But I get tremors sometimes, like I have muscle rigidity and tremors, and so I'm trying to figure out how, like, when I have days like that, I can just adapt my style. So yeah, I was thinking you were going to tell me it helps him support his hand. I wonder if there are tools like that for artists, like that have tremors. I've also found as long as I keep moving, the more I move, and I don't do like fine lines, I tend to do better, which is why I paint more than I draw. But I'm like, I got to keep challenging myself to keep drawing and and get back to it, just to keep those fine skills.
Oh, definitely. Just remember that you don't have to do fine art every single time. I mean, for example, I was mentioning folk life, and these days, half my reason for doing folk life is to do my drawing marathon. And I've just started a brand new sketchbook, and it wasn't my best time because I got distracted by the rain, but had mostly good stuff.
Yeah, I even have color pencils, and I mean, the one nice thing about acrylic, and I think it's one of the reasons why I keep coming back to it, is if you screw something up on acrylic, you can just paint over it and keep moving, and I think that's one of the reasons why I tend to I keep coming back to it, because it's, to me, it makes it so much more like I'm more I feel like I'm more more likely to take risk when I know that the risk can be easily painted over. Ooh, I like that.
Bill, you're going to have to actually talk while you're showing those, otherwise you won't take over the camera.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, because I'm just blabbing.
So say what you're doing.
Okay, I am showing off what I was doing for the last the weekend, which, as I said, drawing marathon at Folk Life. I mean, none of them are intended to be good. It's kind of like lifting weights, I feel. But every now and again, you have some good stuff that are keepers that you can recycle, and others that aren't good at all. But anyway, but there was a few that I thought had some pretty good potential.
Yeah.
Case in point, but most of them were just spot drawings of character poses and interesting faces in the crowd, which, as I said, not my best day. The whole rainy weekend thing made it tough to focus for the most part, but I find half of it is this one I definitely think has potential, though I need to work on it.
Yeah, that's a good posture. I also like the girl doing the hula hoop earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this street juggler, I thought, came out fairly well, though the whole glass sphere tricks aren't quite as visual, aren't quite as impressive when you're doing, on a static image as they are when it's actually see the thing moving.
So it's called a mall stick, and I'll show it online.
Okay.
Here we go, sharing screen.
MALL or MAUL?
MAUL.
Okay.
Oops. How do I get rid of that? So this is what it looks like. It's got
Cool.
a ball on the end, and the reason you wrap it with some cloth like that is in case you touch. You've got a leather cloth on the end of it that you tie, and should you get that messy, you can just take it off and put on another leather cloth. And and this is an example of how you use it. You set it on a dry part of your painting or on the other side, and then you can rest your hand on it while holding the top edge or holding the rod.
Huh. Looks like you can make it. Looks like you could make it with a dowel.
You can make one of these yourself. There's no reason. The reason they sell these is that wood is very hard and it doesn't bend. So,
Oh,
and hey, oh my goodness, it's got leather. But yeah, this thing's like $40. So no, you can go to the hardware store, get yourself some thick, strong dowel, something that doesn't bend.
mhm.
Put a not a tennis ball, but suppose you could use a tennis ball on one end. My friend Sam uses a rack. He drilled a hole in a racquetball, and he put that on the end because a racquetball is really a nice solid piece of rubber, and that's what he uses with a piece of cloth tied to the end of it.
That sounds like a better idea than some of the stuff I've been thinking about. Just now I have to think of the nearest hardware store that has a doweling.
Well, you might be able to find some doweling on an art supply store.
Yeah,
or a modeling place.
I mean, if there isn't any place, it's not the end of the world, but because it's sort of like both Eagle and Ace Hardware. No, not Ace Hardware. The big hardware stores aren't that far away. In fact, they're across the street from each other on Aurora.
Nice teeth.
So this is from a movie called The Monster.
Oh.
And I've been working on him the last couple of weeks whenever I've come in with you guys. Just
It kind of reminds me of a version of what are the aliens from Out of the Block, is it?
Attack the Block.
Attack the Block. If it lost its fur.
And that's the thing about this particular monster is it is nearly completely black, and it's got these black leathery flaps along its arms to kind of hide its body. So it kind of looks like a rock or just a poor silhouette. It's part of its feature. And then, but then its teeth are kind of odd too, in that they're less round and more flat, like shark's teeth. Flat. Did I say flat or did I say flack?
I'm not sure. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and assume you said flat.
And so it looks like a giant, oversized, skinless, earless bat. Not to spoil the creature reveal because you'll have a hard time seeing it in the movie. Speaking of movies, I was telling Bill that I watched the French Dispatch this weekend,
Ooh, okay.
which I enjoyed. Oh, I'm sorry, it got that was just a spam risk on my phone popping up. Let's see, I also watched another movie, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Something more mainstream. Oh, now it's going to kill me. I'm going to have to look on Letterbox.
Give us some hints.
I'm trying to remember what it is. It was it's a film called Afterlife.
Why does that sound
Vaguely
familiar?
familiar.
It had Christine Ricci in it. And
Was that a really weird movie about
It-
like she was dead
like she was
in a
dead.
funeral home?
Yeah.
Was she in a funeral home? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the only one talking to her was the funeral mortician because he could talk to dead people.
And that was Liam Neeson, right?
That was Liam Neeson. And
That movie was weird.
The actor who was in Jeepers Creepers and then Tusk, he was her boyfriend. What's his name?
Not Daniel Radcliffe, was it? I don't think that was him.
No, Daniel Radcliffe was in Horns. It's easy to get mixed up.
Oh yeah, Tusk. What was in Tusk? Justin Long? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Okay. I never think I know a lot about movies until I talk to you. I'm like, I know more than I thought I did.
And let's see. Did I tell you I watched that Prehistoric Planet series?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it's this new BBC show, the latest speculative documentary series from the BBC that Amazon had, that Apple Plus had on, and the practical effects are really well done. Not to mention they didn't do with the exception of Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, and to a lesser extent Quetzalcoatlus, though admittedly Quetzalcoatlus has only recently been a quote cliche dinosaur, well admittedly cliche pterosaur. All of the other they had velociraptors too, but and to their credit they had feathered velociraptors.
I know now that we know that basically chickens are dinosaurs that survived, I don't look at chickens the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen
I-
have you ever seen the inside of a goose mouth?
no, I
those
have
little
not.
serrated bits.
Oh, oh my God, I'm going to find this.
Okay.
It is absolutely terrifying.
I totally believe you.
Yes. I mean, just take a look at this horror show.
Oh, and that's more than some of the other ones I've seen.
That, I
Dear
mean,
Lord.
I know what type of horror show has teeth coming off the edge of its tongue.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeez.
well, cats do.
Well, now I'm thinking like, okay, this is a goose, right? So like I'm thinking of Mother Goose, and I'm like, no, maybe that was supposed to be a horror story. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Well, admittedly, Mother Goose wasn't a goose, but considering I was raised to know,
That they're friendly and
no,
good.
I was raised to believe that geese are unrepentant bullies that you have to stand up for, otherwise they'll chase you.
See, it's so crazy. I grew up in the country, and there's just certain animals that I really should have been exposed to, but they just weren't animals we had in our house.
Every goose I have encountered has been a psychopath.
Okay. Good
And
to
they're
know.
big and they're angry, and when they whack at you with those big old bills, they really hurt. I mean, it's like being punched by your oldest brother when you're not
And they
looking.
And they could conceivably break your arm with those wings.
So yeah, do not, underestimate our feathered overlords, as it were.
Hmm.
Oh, and if you want the really scariest, have you ever run into a Canada goose, domestic goose hybrid?
Yeah, I have seen one. They're really big.
They vary, but they're even meaner than the domestics.
Are they?
Well, it's sort of like they're as mean as Canada geese theoretically can be, but they don't have the fear of humans that keeps Canada geese in check.
I thought there was another movie I saw besides The French Dispatch and Afterlife. Something I watched by myself because my wife wasn't showing an interest. Not that she's just not a huge movie person. I mean, I'm sure both of you can at least tell me which Star Wars films you've seen if you haven't seen them all. My wife is unsure. They all just kind of blur together for her.
Yeah, I gave up on the first series. I gave up
on Star Wars. Now I'm losing respect for you, Bill.
No, I gave up on the first trilogy.
Oh my gosh, I remember how hyped that was. And okay, we watched it in the movie theater and then had a watch party at someone's house afterwards.
What, you saw it with a bunch of haters? I saw nothing wrong with those films. Well, except for, the obvious racial stereotypes.
That's I think it was for us, yeah. I kind of just took it as it was, because I am a fan of Star Wars, but not a super fan. But my brother-in-law was a super fan. And so it was just like, he was the reason we were going and having the, it was his party, and I went because I had nothing better to do that weekend. And I knew all the special effects stuff because we watched all the hyped up specials about all the special effects in the movie and everything else. It was funny, but yeah, that's why I'm whenever you do fan art that's a mashup, it's always interesting to see how different fans take it. Like, do they think it's amusing, or are they like not? Did I tell you I talked to Eli Wolf at Crypticon, and I bought
Yeah.
a grab bag of his stuff, and he had a nifty little coloring book in the grab bag that I got. And so I was actually testing some markers out using it, and I really appreciated what he was doing with all of his mashups. It was fun.
So basically what Eli does is the stuff that's not, he has stuff that he's kind of low on inventory on that's not really selling or moving that much. And he'll toss in, most of those grab bags are consistent of that, so he can lower his inventory. But he does also toss in some other stuff. It's not saying that it's not great stuff. It is. It's just that there's a reason why it's a grab bag.
Right. Yeah, nope, I gotcha.
So I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to do another screen. Just a moment. Screen share. And apparently Stan Brown, our friend, is doing an unboxing right now.
Oh, fun.
Yes. So what I've done is I've selected a color on the wheel that is not completely pure, or the intensity is off a little bit because I've added in a little bit of black, but it's kind of like this orange. But I'm kind of going for, I want to dull down this eye and teeth color so it's not completely a glaring white. So I filled that out on a layer, and now what I'm going to do is lower down the opacity. If I see how white those teeth are, I make sure they got the yellow streak, but they look overly white. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of yellow to dull it down just a hair. And I think that'll make it look a little bit better. Let's see. I'm going to add a little bit more of that opacity. There we go. I think I'm going to say I'm done with this guy. I could spend more time and add another layer of white by going into places like go to the very top. And select the white. And then go over to the top of these other whites. Oops, that's not white. And by highlighting some of these a little bit more, now even we'll make it look just a little bit more glistening. And what I can do to soften that up, I'm adding a little bit more white to the teeth here with that. and then go into the air control and knock those down a little bit, about 50%. And that'll make it look just a tad more glistening than just having these being, all these are kind of just flat right now. So if I highlight a couple of the high points, it'll make them look more wet. And I'll stop sharing. And I think I might share the time lapse of this monster online. So I was really grateful for this weekend to be able to take a break because I was completely wiped out from Crypticon. I also had that previous week taken my dad in for an MRI. And it's nothing like, doing the medical rounds to kind of wear you thin.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I found out over the weekend that one of my friends had a stroke a month ago. He's only getting around to telling me about it now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He was having a hard time moving with part of his body, and he's gotten better, but going. And then another one of my friends finally had a stent put into his heart, and I'm thinking, geez, I gotta get younger friends.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I had a stroke when I was 29, so it was a small one. You can have a stroke at any age.
I think that Bill is the only one in the online right now who hasn't had a stroke, because I had a stroke about 5-7 years ago.
Oh gosh.
I lost just a little of my peripheral vision right down here in the bottom right hand corner. But so hey, not that bad.
Yeah, I thankfully recovered. I just have like this when they do CT scans and MRIs in my brains. I have my one brain. I have this like long squiggly line where the vessel blew out. They're like, good thing you didn't really need that vessel, but they were.
I'm sure it was doing something. That
No.
best friend in elementary school, say who? you know.
Maybe that's why I have all these neurological problems now. No, yeah, they were like, they found it afterwards because I was actually ER nurse and I was working. I was just sitting there typing, charting on another patient, and all of a sudden I lost my vision and both eyes. Like I just had this white, hot, searing pain come out of nowhere. And then, of course, like sometimes when people have strokes, they throw up. You just automatically do it, and I just threw up everywhere. And they're like, "Oh my God, you're okay. You just have a migraine." I'm like, "I've never had a migraine before. What are you talking about?" And I had trouble with my vision for about 2 hours, and they diagnosed it as a migraine. And then 2 years later, I had an MRI of my brain, and they were like, "You had a pretty significant blood vessel blow." I was like, "I know exact day that happened." I can tell you because I've never had a headache like that before, and I hope I never have another one as long as I live.
I was crossing a street following a client we were just getting ready to do a video shoot where I was going to be drawing all day. And all of a sudden, while I was crossing the street, my vision went completely insane.
Yep.
I mean, it was sort of like triple, and it went, double, triple, quadruple kaleidoscope vision, but my balance was okay. And I wasn't nauseous and I wasn't smelling anything. And by the time I reached the other side of the street, it stabilized, but everything seemed to be vibrating. And
crap, this is me like on a daily basis now, Mark.
So
like, should I be worried?
My vision was vibrating, and I went ahead and did the shot, the shoot, and made an appointment with my optometrist because I needed to have new glasses anyway. I said, "Hey, what I did when I got home was I started testing my peripheral vision, and I realized, okay, I'm missing stuff down here. I'll go in and get this test done." And then had the test done. Yes, you've lost some peripheral vision. How'd that happen? Probably a stroke. Okay, I should go in and get an MRI done. They said, yeah, that's probably a good thing. We'd encourage you to go in sooner if, well, I've been talking to them on the line, but they said, hey, are you taking blood thinners? I said, yeah. I said, well, they can't do much for you anyway. You're on blood thinners. That's what they do for you if you were at the hospital. So yeah, went in, had them take a look. They said, yeah, thankfully it's all the way at the end of your vein. It didn't clog, you might have had more problems if it clogged up a little early, but it was really right at the tip. Yeah, thankfully it was right at the edge. So they said odds of your vision coming back are not good from there. I said, really? Yeah, it could come back. Brain can rewire itself. But it never did. It's pretty much gone right here. And on that cheerful note, no, we still got another 10 minutes. But I will stop talking old fart talk of medications and trips. But anyway, that's why I was a little wrung out last week, because running dad around who's 92, you think I have issues, man.
Well, I think, we're all introvert. Well, I'm introverted, and going out and leaving my house anytime for any reason just freaking exhausts me anyway. So I can't imagine going to the hospital and doing all of that business. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm even looking forward to doing, a local convention again. But I'm also like, oh my God, I'm going to be so tired from this peopling. I don't like peopling.
Now, I love peopling, and Eli is really good. Eli's been scraping together and going to every single day convention he can find. And he's been doing a pretty good job, because right now, for some of us, it used to be doing the convention circuit was a little side gig I did,
Yeah.
but now it's a more, real money's coming in. So that's nice.
Yeah, I'm still building my brand. That reminds me, I need to look into some logo stuff because I Tim and I were talking and I need a sign or a logo. And I'm rebranding Evil Girlfriend from having been a publisher to what it was originally supposed to be, which was for me, for my art. And so I've got to get this logo thing figured out.
I thought you settled on your logo. I like your Evil Girlfriend logo.
I do too. I mean, when I say I've got to settle it, like I've got to finalize it and make products with it and see what those products look like, and then see if people recognize them and how does it work? Do I need to refine anything? Because I've seen a couple other artists using a very similar logo style, all that. So I don't want to be mistaken, but I actually don't know that many people with the name Evil Girlfriend as their business. And I also own the trademark. I trademarked it and renewed it. So I do own that when it comes to entertainment and creative. Now someone, I guess, could have a business where they make Evil Girlfriend media perfume, and I can't really do anything about it, but can you guys guess the iconic pose this is from?
Let
me pull it.
Second.
Let me see it.
The first movie when he's looking at the sunset.
Yes. I've still got a long ways to go with the dog, but I'm getting it fleshed out. Because his hair, like I found this picture of a golden retriever and its hair was flapping in the wind just like his hair, and it was the sunset for the golden retriever, and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect.
So I did a painting for Star Wars Day. We're oh no, it was for the Strong Women of Star Wars was the pop-up show. And so I showed a Tusken Raider family with a female Tusken Raider, which has a completely different headdress. It's a long mask type headdress, and two Tusken kids. They also have a different type of mask, very plain looking, and with two moons in the background. I wonder what I ever did with that. I wonder if I can find it.
I didn't know Tatooine had two moons.
Oh, pardon me, the two suns. Pardon me.
One of my dogs is mostly a golden retriever, and so I have a little fondness for them. She's very sassy. They are very kind and loving dogs, but she has just enough chow in her that she doesn't follow commands that easily.
Nicest dogs with one of the more not nice dogs. I had this very interesting job doing surveys of apartment complexes, and normally when they say the limitations of what dogs they allow, when they say the breeds that they don't allow are pit bulls and Rottweilers, but in just one apartment, the list included chows.
Well, in my old neighborhood where I grew up, there was a chow that was a terror. He bit my brother. Nobody risked even crossing on that side of the street with that chow because he was just a fiend. And when he got out, all the kids would go running home. Oh, no, I hated that dog.
Yeah, they can be very they have a lot of attitude, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because when she was younger, oh my gosh, she was a terror. I could see why someone, now she's just an old sweet lady who, if we're not, she has decided that nobody's allowed to be in the downstairs area after 8:30 p.m. So she just sits on her pillow in the dining area and moans and cries until we turn the TV off and go upstairs. Which reminds me, we watched 2 episodes of the Obi-Wan show.
Of which show?
Obi-Wan.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, I'd heard that it was. I'd seen them beginning to plug it, but I hadn't heard that it was out just yet.
Yeah, both Bill and I don't have Disney Plus, so we're out of the loop there. Oh, the other movie that I did watch was The Matrix Resurrection, which is currently streaming on HBO Max. So I give it a 7 out of 10. And with my fine opinion of Matrix Resurrection, you have watched yet another hour of epic sketch time. Katie, you paint so quickly. That's looking great. Nice job.
Thank you.
And when I see you guys all next Tuesday, I'll report on how well Lilac City went.
Cool.
I'm excited to hear.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.